Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. In this podcast, we like to tackle the CNC industry specifically and really talk a little bit about business in general. Hopefully, you'll find some entertainment throughout it and hopefully some education. But the next episode starts right now. Welcome. Hey, I'm back home. Ready for another episode of Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I appreciate everybody tuning in today for the new episode. Hopefully you enjoyed our episode from IWF last week, but I am your host, Brandon Bombardo, here with Nick Peters.
It's great to have you back.
Hey, thanks, man. It's glad to be back.
Are you? Yeah?
I am glad to be back.
Your voice is back a little bit today.
It doesn't feel like it.
You sound a little better than yesterday.
Does it sound better than yesterday?
Yeah, for sure.
Still can't stand the sound of my own voice at this moment because I lost it and then had to come back and coach hockey, which does not help your voice come back faster.
We wish I would have stayed gone.
Thank you. Appreciate
That's
that.
Another story for another day.
Yeah, you make me feel good about myself. I can always count on you for boosting morale around here.
I do my best. Everybody laughs, so that's good.
You tell certain employees to try to make it through their first 90 days, and then you tell me to shut up. So, great job.
I didn't. I just said we wished your voice was back. I didn't say shut up.
That's basically what you said.
Basically, it doesn't really count.
Basically, the face of ShopSabre. Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah, with that, how was it while I was gone? Did you have a blast?
It was really quiet.
Did you work from home?
Only twice.
Good.
I did leave early one day, though.
That's cool.
Yeah. I felt like donkey. But
didn't feel very good?
No.
Was a little sick?
Yeah.
It'll happen. Happens to the best of us. I have learned that Atlanta is very warm.
They have sweet scooters, though.
They have the sweetest scooters, dude. So, fun story. Let's talk about it.
Heck yeah.
Let's talk about it. So, here in Minnesota, I live in the country.
Yep.
There's not exactly like Uber in this area, right? You don't really have much. It's just kind of nothing. So, obviously, I use Uber when I'm down in like other cities that are, larger, like Atlanta, Las Vegas, whatnot. But
Lakeville.
Not Lakeville. I still don't Uber. But yeah, so we at the trade show and we go to, get back to our hotel, and Ben and I take an Uber. It takes us 25 minutes to get from the trade show to our, 25 minutes to get from the trade show to our hotel. It's not that far away.
Could you walk there faster?
No, definitely. Well, maybe, I guess. I don't know. I don't think so. We were sitting in traffic though. That was the problem.
That's the worst.
And so the next morning, Ben and I are like, we're not going to get stuck in traffic again. And Ben's like, we should take these scooters. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I'm like looking at him and he's like, let's do it. I'm like, all right. So we jump on these scooters, right? We take the lime scooters. Most fun I've ever had in my life.
You got to the show at noon?
No.
Because you're having so much fun.
No, we definitely got there way early because you could cut through everything.
Yeah.
But we were very rookie scooterers, and come to find out, there's an out of bounds for those things.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Like off the sidewalk?
It's out of bounds. Like if you end up in areas where they don't want you, this shuts the scooter off.
You got to back up.
The problem is, I found out at the bottom of the giant hill.
Oh, no.
I was like, sweet hill, going all the way down this hill. Got to the bottom of the hill. Scooter turned off.
What the heck?
I had to walk a scooter all the way back up the hill.
That's not cool.
Yeah, so that was lame. And then I was like, well, I'm going to ride this thing right to the front door and park this thing. Nope. Got to ride back to the street, park it, and take a picture of it.
So you got to take a picture of it?
Oh, yeah, because they don't want you stealing it. So if you don't take a picture, if it doesn't let you log out of it and then take a picture, they're charging you.
But what if you just want to ride it and pay for it for a year and just ride it? Why do you got to?
Be expensive.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, why do you got to drop it off?
You don't have to drop it off. You can drive it as much as you want.
Yeah.
But eventually it runs out of battery.
Well, must be a charger somewhere.
No,
do plug them
they drive around in a truck and pick them up.
They do?
Yeah. And they drop new ones off.
Well, I never even thought through that process of
it's awesome.
Kind of battery.
Yeah, it's sweet. They just pick them up and take them
You
back.
should just buy a fleet of them to keep at your house and
Dude, I tried. I literally tried to buy one and my wife canceled my Amazon order.
Let's not make fun of your wife this week.
She canceled my order.
You actually did you
I ordered it.
Okay,
she said,
a little bit over the line.
You don't need it. She's making the right decision.
But is she though?
She is, because she made a good point. Actually, it was a mutual canceling. She made me cancel the order essentially because she said to me, you can say it. It's okay. I can take it. She said to me, she's like, you're gonna ride it for a month, then you're gonna forget you have it. By next year, it's gonna be old news, and we just spent stupid amount of money on this.
But think of all the cool stuff your kids could do with their friends, like make.
I said, think about all the cool tricks I could do.
You take it to the racetrack with you.
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
Like
I was gonna put it in the race trailer and then ride around the pits in it. I think she realized I was gonna hurt myself, so she did not want that.
So what was her reasoning for not doing it? All she said was you don't need it.
She said, I don't need it. It's too much money.
I mean,
I was like, potato.
you don't need to be the richest guy in the graveyard.
Right.
I mean,
$1,200 for a bunch of fun. It was a $1,200 scooter.
I spent $1,200 on way worse.
That's what I told her. I'm like, I was like, Amy, do you understand the amount of stupid stuff that I own in that garage right now? Wait a second. Don't go out in the garage.
They would be sweet, though. That'd be awesome.
I'm going to get one. We just decided now is not the time. I had to buy all my kids. It's hockey season.
So wait
right now.
till you're older?
No, I'm going to get it in like a few months.
Oh.
But my kids are
winter? That sounds like a
signing.
good idea.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to get it. I'm going to ride it around the house.
Oh, God.
She made a good point. She's like, hockey's starting in 2 weeks, like for the fall. You got to sign up both kids for hockey, plus play goalie clinic stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of money out of pocket this month. We'll push this out to the end of August.
That's fair.
Especially because, like, just so much going on with back to school. And she had to get her classroom, which is somehow my fault that she's a teacher and I have to pay for the classroom to get
Poor
ready.
timing on her part.
Right. I was like, come on. The kids don't need the best of the best. We don't need to, like, decorate.
What do we say? Your lack of planning doesn't...
Right. It doesn't constitute an emergency on mine.
Right.
I planned for needing transportation.
Right.
She didn't. But I think she's more worried about the fact that the scooter I found goes 51 miles an hour.
Dang, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's pretty sweet.
I could just see you trying to ride it down the highway to work.
I would.
That'd be sick.
You won't stop me. I wouldn't go down the highway. I'd go down the service road, but I would.
That'd be sweet.
I'm going to put my backpack out.
51 miles an hour?
Yeah. Like, it was awesome.
I would be scared to get hurt.
Me and Ben raced down a hill that was way too big. And I found out that I'm way faster than Ben going uphill, but I am way slower than Ben going downhill.
He gets a little bit of momentum.
I almost got killed by Ben, though.
But it was great to see all four of you knuckleheads riding those.
Dude,
things.
it was the blast.
Awesome.
It was like the most fun I've ever had. I was sending you guys videos of it because it was just a blast.
Did Travis crash?
No.
Wow, that's awesome.
No, Travis did not crash. Chad didn't crash. Ben almost took me out and murdered me.
Oh, God.
He said, turn right at the light. One would believe when you get to the light, you are going to then turn right. I started to turn right.
He went
Ben
straight.
did not.
Almost got T-boned.
Ben tried to T-bone me, and he sounded like a car locking up their brakes. When he hit the brakes, it was the loudest screech ever, and then he swerved around me. And I'm like, saw my life flash before my eyes.
And then everybody that's stuck in traffic is looking at you guys like,
oh,
what a
everybody looked at
bunch
us
of
like we were
adult
just
idiots.
a bunch of idiots. Like, it was the most fun I've ever. And we did it with a ShopSabre shirt on, too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Free advertising.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's sweet.
So,
I want to go next time.
yeah, you should definitely. But yeah, we had an absolute blast at IWF.
Yeah,
I will
sounds
say
like
that.
it was awesomely busy too. A lot of people came to check out the booth.
Yeah, a lot of people came to check out the booth. I realized right now that I don't have the right information in front of me, but yeah, it was a blast. Like I said, we went to the show at about a week ahead, roughly a week, half a week ahead of time. We had to get everything set up, but everything went smooth. It was really awesome. We set up the ISA, and then we had a really good turnout. We had a really good spot right at the front door. So anybody who came out and visited us, thank you so much. And then April Wilkerson visited us at the booth, and that was fun. Got to meet April in person. That's the first time I've actually met April in person. I know a lot of our staff has got a chance to meet her and whatnot, but it's the first time I personally met her.
Really good podcast with her too.
Had a lot of fun with her. Like, it was so easy to talk with her. Like, we could have talked for another hour, but like, I realized she had better things to do than sit there and chat with me. But and then Tyler Shaheen stopped by. We were supposed to do a video together, but he and I our schedules kept getting so, like, every time he'd show up, I was just slam busy. And then when I had a second, he wasn't there. So it just didn't work out for us. But he's going to come here to Minnesota. He's going to come tour the facility, and then we're going to have him on the podcast.
Awesome.
So I'm excited about that.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. And then we're jumping into PRI. So we're going to kind of shift focus now. And here, December 12th through the 14th will be PRI in Indianapolis, Indiana. Pretty excited about that. It's one of the biggest racing shows in the United States. It's the performance racing industry show. So I'm excited just because being a race car guy, get to go hang out with a bunch of racers.
Buy some cool seats and steering
I
wheels.
bought a seat last year. Yeah, it was awesome. I did not buy a steering wheel.
Didn't you?
No, I just bought a seat last year.
Wasn't there a story about a steering wheel or something though? I feel like I remember a steering wheel at one
I
point.
bought a steering wheel. I got a steering wheel with my new car.
Oh,
It's like the nicest steering wheel I've ever owned, so I
I'm
won't throw it at
confused.
anybody.
that's good.
Yeah.
Won't be like that guy on NASCAR last week.
Dude,
Plowing with everybody EA
Just
Sports style.
playing EA Sports. It's in the game. Just pit maneuvering everyone for the win.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
That's what I said. Like, kind of the topic is like, he's paid to like win. And
Well-
he's at 31st in points. He's not going to get in the playoffs. That's the closest he's probably going to get the rest of the year to winning a race. he had to take the opportunity. And like the first move, I totally understood. Driving into the back of Logano, like Logano drives into everybody. Like that's for the win. I'm good with that one. I'm not so good with the right rear and the guy and turning them headfirst into the wall. Like that was kind of a cheap shot.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, too, don't you think you can trace this back to years and years and years ago that NASCAR's been just allowing it to all happen, right?
Or there's no penalties for rough driving.
Nothing that's been
There's
done
no
on it.
penalty
So
for rough
how do you all
driving.
of a sudden start?
But there is for right rear. Like they've penalized historically for hitting a guy in the right rear.
Because that's just super dangerous.
It's super dangerous because like you're turning the car at full speed towards the crowd.
And then they're going to the wall head.
Yeah, and like head first, like just all the things that are bad. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a penalty that comes from that, because that historically has gotten you a penalty. Like Bubba Wallace got a penalty for doing the same thing to Kyle Larson years ago. So I have a feeling there's something coming there. But yeah, EA Sports, it's in the game.
That first move was sweet.
Dude, the whole thing was sweet. Like runs into the back,
that's what I mean.
Right rears the guy. Like hilarious.
Kind of like other sports, those are the things that happen that makes casual fans enjoy it, right? I mean, it's race. Robin's racing like they used to.
Hamlin said it perfectly. Hamlin, who got right reared for the record, he's like, the record book's not going to indicate how he got the win.
Right.
Like he did what he had to do. Like he understood it. He didn't like it,
right?
But he's like, yeah, guy had to do what he had to do.
It is what it is.
I think he understood because he's a car owner.
Sure.
Like Hamlin owns a team and he knows what it's like, how much money is tied up into these sponsors that like to win.
Yep.
He had an opportunity to win and he took it.
He did.
Think. You know, and he even said like, if I wasn't involved in it, I'd probably be thinking it was cool.
Yeah.
But it just sucks. That was one of the two cars he wrecked, you know? Like, I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, I'm not a huge Hamlin guy, but I thought the way he handled it was pretty well. Logano handled it exactly how Logano handles everything. Right. But yeah, I was, I don't know. This isn't a sports podcast, so we won't go too far into it, but I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, good way to draw some attention to a sport.
For sure.
But yeah, that's what I got today for my current events. I guess, what do you got? Anything? Or did I steal your thunder there with that one?
No, I think that about covered it. Kind of recap the last week or so with what's been going on.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so pumped about scootering. I just want to go scooter again.
Right.
I've been having scooter withdrawals.
We could just get the band together and go downtown and ride them around downtown.
If we should do it. I don't know why we haven't already.
What the heck?
But yeah, let's jump into this week's episode. This week I wanted to talk a little bit. You know what? Should we jump on the episode or should we do current events or do the customers' questions and comments first?
Do the questions.
Should we do questions and comments?
Sure.
We should jump into questions and comments. We can do the episode a little bit here. We're going to talk this week about the ISA. So that's what we're going to jump into. We'll talk a little bit about our loading, unloading machine and understanding the differences. But let's jump into customer questions and comments. Customer questions and comments. So first question of the day was regarding the TCC skirt. We had the Twin City guys on this show several weeks ago.
Yep.
And they had kind of alluded to the fact that they were going to be coming out with their new dust skirt. And somebody had asked, how does it compare to the dust skirt, the current one, the dust stock? And the answer is, truthfully, it doesn't. They're not the same. If you look at the designs, they're completely different. The dust stock is designed for a more enclosed or more encased tooling connection, right? I mean, it's going to pull the dust right from where you're cutting. The downfall of the dust stock is while it simply produces more airflow to the tool, it also does not provide clearance around the tool, so you have to take it off to do a tool change. So like anything in the world, there's pros and cons to it all. And the pro to the dust stock is there's virtually no better dust collection ever. Like you will get the maximum dust collection and not have to run massive collectors, right? Mm-hmm. You can get by with a minimal collector and produce pretty efficient dust collection. So if you're running your machine all day, every day though, and every second counts, changing the dust skirt out, having the machine dock it, it adds a few seconds to your programs. I mean, I think it's like just about 10 seconds if I'm not mistaken. And so those 10 seconds add up over time. And so that's where like a dust stock, can slow a guy down. And some people are in that high production demand. Now, that being said, I think that the vast majority of people overreact. I think they act like they need more time than they do on their machine. And reality is their machine sits idle for half the week and not making them any money anyway. So it doesn't really matter if they get it done a few seconds faster or not. But because that's the world we live in and people find a way to make a big deal about sometimes small things, that's where some of these other dust skirts were born from. And the TCC skirt was actually the original skirt that we had looked at previously. But now they've kind of updated it into a blue. It's a fancy blue.
Looks really, really good.
I like it. It says ShopSabre on it. It's fancy blue. And yeah, so anyways, they came out with that. And obviously we have the Stage 2, which is something that we do in-house, and I love the Stage 2. To be honest, the Stage 2 and the TCC are very similar in effect. I think the TCC one's the advantage is it's blue, it's got our name on it, but the reality is the Stage 2 is obviously injection molded. It's a little bit different design, but they both work really, really great, and they speed up your production because they don't have to dock anymore. The downfall is if you have a small or a cheap collector, they're not as efficient.
Right.
So you're going to get more dust buildup. You might have some more cleanup to do, especially around the edges of your sheets. But if you invest in a massively large dust collector or a very, high quality dust collector, you're going to find that there's little dust collection difference between the dust stock and it when paired with the appropriate size dust collector.
It's like everything, right? You put the correct tools together, you're going to get the best results.
Right. So that's my answer. Is like apples to oranges. It's all relative to what you have in your shop for a dust collector and, your needs. So yeah, but all three skirts, the TCC, the Stage 2, and the dust stock all have their place in the world, and they all work great. So yeah, just have to find what's right for your needs. Question 2, EVA foam. We had a gentleman comment on our EVA foam video that said he was glad to see us provide the extra details. He had no idea that he could cut that stuff with his ShopSabre. And you're welcome. I mean, we're very happy to provide that information. Reality is there's virtually unlimited ideas that you can do with your ShopSabre. I mean, that's really what it comes down to is if you can dream it up, you can design it up, and you can find the tools for it, there's most cases you can cut it with your ShopSabre. I mean, obviously there's some limitations to certain materials and whatnot, but the cool thing with our machines is there's a lot of different applications that one machine can be versatile into. It's not just about cutting one part. You're not buying a machine just to cut cabinets, but you can cut signs. I mean, Sean was talking about that at IWF, which was kind of fun to hear him tell his stories to other people when they were asking about machines. Is Sean Morley was there, and he was talking about his cabinet business. And he's like, I bought the machine for my cabinet business. He's a full-time cabinet guy, but he's like, I got into doors and drawers and all this other stuff related to the cabinet business, which then landed him other jobs, which now he cuts signs and he's done, he goes, I've done aluminum, I do foam. He goes, I do so many other things other than cabinets, and that machine just makes me money.
Yeah, and I think that's, like you said, people kind of get down the one path thinking they can only do the one thing, right? Or they just get so dialed in on being really, really great at cabinets that they forget about all the other things they can do.
Right, and I think that's where, like, for me, some customers lose track of, like, that's who we are as a company too. Like they're like, well, I don't know why you didn't build a machine this way. And they're thinking one-dimensionally, like all we do is build machines for cabinets.
Yeah.
But it's like I have as many customers not doing cabinets as I do have doing cabinets. Right. So cabinets is only one part of my market. So building a machine exclusively just to cater to that market, it kills a whole other market. So we try to build machines that are versatile so you can do multiple things with them.
Correct.
But yeah, that's kind of my insight on that one. And then question 3 was, what is the design software you recommend for MDF doors? We have the MDF door video with Sean, and there was a question asked on that. And so we recommend, a cabinetry specific software when you're doing something like doors specifically. Generally I use KCD, Mosaic, Cabinet Pro, one of those 3. There's other ones out there, but those are the 3 that we typically work with. And like I said, they have specific door designs and packages inside those softwares. So you're not having to like come up with the designs on your own and figure it out, but they've already kind of catered to that market.
Yep. So
that's where I would go, but obviously you can manually design doors and things like that in Fusion 360 or Aspire. There's definitely things you could do there, but cabinet specific softwares will make life way easier.
Especially when all you have to do, like Sean was talking about it one time when he was here about how you just tell it what you want it to do and give it a size, and it just basically throws it right in front of you. You don't really have to do a lot with it to get the result that you need.
Right. And that's the thing about this is like in the door world, they have door libraries. You just go in and select the design you want, tell it how many you need, tell it the size, and it makes life simple.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's a guy asked us that at IWF. He said, I want to be a door shop. I want to cut doors. That's all I want to do. I don't want to cut cabinets. I don't want to do anything else. All I do is doors. How hard is that going to be? And I had KCD come over. He happened to walk into the booth as the guy was asking. I'm like, EJ over here can show you. EJ showed him how to use the software. And he's like, yeah, that's super simple. He's like, I couldn't believe how easy it was. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I overthought that. And I'm like, yeah, a lot of people do. They overthink the software nowadays. Things have come so far that you're not having to be a wizard with CAD software anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's always seems like the question is how difficult it's going to be when actually it's like how quickly and how easy can I learn this?
Right. I mean, a lot of times like you put more stress into it.
Yep.
Than it actually is going to take. You're stressing about things that really aren't real.
For sure.
So, yeah, that's our questions for today. But now it's my turn to ask a question. This week's Audience question is, if you could go back in time and speak to yourself at 18 years old, what is one thing you would tell yourself? I'll ask one more time. If you could go back in time and speak to your 18-year-old self, what is one thing you would tell yourself? Hold on a second. I want the audience to think about that question. Put in the comment section. I want to hear your responses to this. Like, send us an email if you want. Send it to marketing@shopsabre.com. Send it to sales@shopsabre. I don't care. Send it to either one of them. Or put it in the comment section. We want to hear from you on this one. But again, if you could go back in time and speak to your 18-year-old self, what is one thing you would tell yourself? Nick, your 18-year-old self, if you could go back, what are you telling yourself?
I would just tell myself to listen to yourself and do things the way that you feel is best for you to do it. And not like feel like you need to go down the path that everybody thinks is the right one, right? Like everybody thinks, oh, you need to go to a 4-year college. You need to do this. You need to do that to be successful. When in reality, there's a million different avenues you can go without going to a 4-year school or even a tech school for that matter. And you can still be successful. Like I didn't go to school I went for about 2 semesters because I was going to do like landscape architecture type things, golf course stuff. Yeah. And then decided, you know what, school really isn't what I want to do right now. And went and started working in the golf business at the golf course and ended up doing it for 20 years. Didn't go to any school and was successful doing that. And then obviously realized that life isn't all about just work and making money, and you need to not work sun up to sundown, and found a great Monday through Friday job here, and here we are.
Yeah, I love that answer. But I would go back, me personally, and tell myself 2 things. 1, everything's going to be okay.
Yep.
It's all going to work out. Like I stressed so much when I was 18 years old about like what's next? What do I do? Where am I going? You know, everything's gonna be fine. Let it take its course. Just apply yourself. You know, like that's the one thing I would tell myself, is because as long as you put in the work, it all works out. And I've learned that now. Like 18-year-old me had never seen myself being where I am today.
Yep.
But 18-year-old me worked just as hard as I do today. So it's like, just trust yourself that if you put in the work, you're gonna be fine. But the other thing that I would really tell myself, the one thing, if I could go back, if you could only pick one thing to tell yourself, I would tell myself, just don't worry about what other people think.
Yep.
Take the chance. And I mean that with everything. Ask the girl out.
Yep.
Right? Apply for the job.
You miss 100% of shots you don't
like, and that's exactly, like you hear that. Okay, how many times do you hear that in your life? But like, now that I'm older, I realize it's true. Like, you were so afraid to ask a girl out because somebody might laugh at you. Or you were so afraid to apply for a job because you might not be qualified and they might say no. Or you're so afraid to take the trip because you've never been there.
Yep.
And every single time I've done any one of those things, I've gotten the result. And maybe it's not the result that I wanted, but I got a result, and then it put the anxiety behind me and I can move on.
And then, like we talked about in previous episodes, you learn from it.
Right.
We're better off from it.
Correct.
And I think one other thing, too, to add to what I said before is, like, live in the moment and live in the present, and don't try to, like, plan what your life's going to be 10 years from now.
Correct.
You don't know. Like, there's a million things that are going to happen in the next 10 years that are going to change the path of where you're going or where you think you need to go or whatever. Just let it all happen in the moment and kind of go that way.
The same thing could be said about your business. And that's where I'm going to go with this, is right now is, again, don't worry. Just trust yourself, right? You went into business for yourself for a reason. You have to take a chance on yourself once in a while.
For sure.
And that means, again, like I said, apply for the job that you maybe think you're underqualified for. Bid on the job that you think you can't get. You never know. Like, put the resources into yourself, because there's so many businesses out there right now. And I talk to a lot of you guys at IWF, and I'm sorry if you're one of the people listening that you're like, man, this is me that talked to them. Like, so many people are scared right now because, like, oh man, what if I buy the machine and I can't run it?
Right.
Like, what if you buy the machine and it ends up being the best decision you've ever made in your entire life?
Well, and I think too, like, if you're that person that you talk to, like, don't think of this as like talking badly about that conversation or like talking down to somebody. Like, it's just trying to give you the confidence to go out and do it and like take that chance on yourself and win.
Sean said it perfectly at the show. I heard him say, a guy was like, well, he asked him, how did you get the confidence to buy the machine when you didn't know anything about it? And Sean said, scared money doesn't make money. And it's the truth. Like, you have to invest the money in yourself and know that I don't know what I'm doing today, but I have a plan that I'm going to learn it. I'm going to put my effort in, and that doesn't mean that it's going to go flawlessly. Even Sean said it. It didn't go flawlessly from day one.
Right.
He had some issues. Like, he's had to figure things out. Like, he bought a piece of software for a healthy chunk of change from somebody else, not ShopSabre, and it didn't work. He ended up out all that money, but then he connected with ShopSabre, and we got him into a piece of software that now he's been using for 10 years, and it's paid for itself over and over. He said he doesn't even recognize the lost money on that first software because he made so much money with the second software.
And once you have the machine that's doing things more efficiently, you have a little bit of that extra time to make mistakes or learn or have trial runs to do things. So it'll all work out.
Agreed. And so that would be me. Go back to 18 and tell myself, just do it.
Yep.
Like go take the risk. Apply for the job, travel, do the things that you were so afraid to do because what if it doesn't work? Yeah, you know what? If it doesn't work, you're going to move on. You're going to learn from it. It might not work, but you're going to learn a lesson. Correct. And the lesson is more important than the failure.
Absolutely.
So that's where it is. But again, going back to the audience question for you, if you could go back in time and tell your 18-year-old self one thing, what would you tell yourself? So love to hear from you guys. Put it in the comment section. And with that, we're going to jump into the topic of the week, which is understanding the difference between loading and unloading machines and the standard manual load machines. And the reason this topic comes up is simply because of the fact that we now have a loader-unloader machine. We have released the ISA machine here at ShopSabre. And the ISA, so IS is the series. We're all familiar with the IS. The IS is one of our most popular bread and butter machines. It's found in shops all over the world. But now the A, which is the ISA, A stands for automation. And so we've automated that series where now the machine has the ability to load itself, cut all the parts, unload itself, and sweep the table while reloading. So it streamlines the whole process. And so what it does is it creates efficiency in your shop is what that machine does. It's not for everybody. Right. And I'm going to tell you that right now. There's a lot of sales guys out there that try to tell you can't get by without a loader or unloader. They're a liar. Like, there's a lot of companies out there that push loader unloaders because they're just trying to get your money. The vast majority of the customers in a startup CNC world probably don't have the demand or the need for a processing machine. The downfall to like a sheet loading, unloading machine is there are some limitations. It's not as versatile of a machine. So you have to take that into consideration. What are you doing in your shop? Are you cutting sheets all day long, flat panels, making things easy, or are you getting into more robust needs where you got 3-dimensional carvings or you got to get into live edge and some taller materials or C-axes? There's limitations to these sheet processing machines out there. And the one thing that people don't realize is some of the limitations is people. Believe it or not, what does it take to truly be efficient in your shop? The equipment is only one part of it. And a lot of times people don't realize, like, okay, yeah, you put a machine in the shop and the slowest part is the guy loading and unloading it. But that produces a flow so your shop doesn't end up backed up.
Yep.
If you streamline that, the faster you load and unload the machine, the faster you need to move product through your shop. Otherwise, it just stacks up somewhere else in your shop. So rather than slowing down at the machine, now it slows down at the assembly process or the paint process or the install process. So you start to think about those things that, an auto loader, does it truly make your shop faster? Some people, yes. I'll talk about the fact that it saves you the time of lifting sheets. Therefore, there's less fatigue, right? Because I'm not going to get tired if I don't have to lift the sheet.
And less chance of injury.
Or less chance of injury. There's some things there that are advantage, right?
Yep.
Then it unloads itself, right? Pushes the parts off the table, which now saves me, again, more time of having to unload, right? I'm not having to lift all this stuff off. But now you have to have somebody standing there to unload that unloader, right?
Yep.
You still have to plan for unloading it. And because now the machine's more efficient, the machine's ripping through sheets in 5 minutes, right? You have to have that unloader unloaded every 5 minutes. Or you have to install another conveyor system for it to unload to keep moving material, which now is more space.
Yep.
So some shops simply just don't have the space for that. The other thing to take into consideration, a standard IS machine, right? Probably 12 foot in length.
Yeah.
144 inches roughly for a 10-footer when you think about the floor space you need. A loader unloader, 42 feet long. Think about that.
It's 3 times the size.
It's a lot of shop space. So if you don't have that shop space, maybe a loader unloader isn't the right fit for your shop. So don't automatically be peer pressured into thinking you have to have a loader unloader. But if you're one of those shops where you're cranking out capacity and you're trying to turn out as many cabinets and closets as you can, the loader unloader is the perfect fit for it. We sold a bunch of them to a lot of very efficient shops. There's a lot of people that outgrow that level below. They have an IS and they've been doing it for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And now it's time for them to make the next step. That's where the loader unloader really comes in, is it helps you take that next step into your efficiencies.
Yep.
So, you have to think about that. If you're not running all day, maybe the loader unloader isn't necessary, right?
Right. You obviously still have the time to do those things without running out of time, right?
Maybe it doesn't save you time, because if the machine's not running, is it really saving you anything?
No.
It's got to be running. These machines really do their best work when they're running, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of how the loader unloader stuff works. You saw the loader unloader obviously before I left.
Yep, for sure.
What was your first take on it when you saw it?
I just thought it was really cool. I mean, super cool that it can do all those things, at the same time in one kind of flowing process on one machine, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch people's reaction to that machine. Watching people take it all in and see it lifts the sheet, brings it on the table, cuts it out, and then as it's offloading it, it's loading the next sheet and sweeping the table all in one motion.
Yeah, there's literally no downtime really. If you have it stacked back to back, right?
Right.
It's just going to keep.
Yeah.
Like a conveyor, just constant conveyor belt of running things through. It's just things out.
As my dad says, the old JB says, it's a wood printer. Like it basically is. It's like loading a ream of, paper into the printer and then hitting go. It's the same thing. You load your whole job into the machine, put the stack of wood behind it, and it just starts ripping it through.
Yeah, it's pretty, and the machine itself just looks cool.
It's so cool. It's so cool looking. Like I love that.
I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of the gantry with the.
I think the new tool changer it's exciting to watch that new tool changer that we have where it slides in and out. Rather than having to go over to the side of the machine and pick up things. It's just on the head all the time. I also think having the drill head on that machine, it's fun to watch it because it's so efficient. Yep. I mean, we're cranking out sheets of material in 3 to 4 minutes. Unreal.
That's crazy.
It's so fast.
So you think about that, you do an entire kitchen in a half an hour.
That's what we were talking about. Me and a customer were sitting there, and the customer was talking about his job, and we did the math, and we figured out it was 44 minutes, and he could do the whole kitchen.
Think about that. You could cut out 6 or 7 kitchens in one day.
That's what he was talking about, and that's the efficiency that he had. Is he needed to be able to do that because of the throughput he has. He does 10 kitchens a week, is what he said.
Right now he does.
Yeah.
So basically, you could triple his.
Yeah, he does 10 kitchens a week right now, and he's doing them by hand.
That's crazy.
So he's like, I need to get a machine in here. So he bought an ISA. He bought one at the show, and he's just super pumped to get it in there and get it going. And you think about that, and it's going to be like a streamlined process for him. And he said, I can only imagine. He goes, right now I have to turn jobs away.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it by hand. He's like, we're cranking right now. He goes, but now I'll be able to start telling people yes to everything.
He'll pay for that machine in 2 months.
He said that already. He's like, I have enough work backlogged right now to already pay for the machine.
That's awesome.
Think about that.
Yeah.
The machine's already paid for. He knows that. He's like, I bought the machine from you guys knowing that once I finish these jobs, it's going to pay for itself.
And to now be able to tell people, I'll take your money. I'll take your jobs. I'll take your work instead of saying no and just having to regret turning that money away. I mean, really, that's what you have to do. Yeah,
he's outsourcing all of his doors right now. He used to build all of his own doors. He's outsourcing them all because he got so busy on the kitchen stuff that he just couldn't slow down to actually build doors. So he's like, now I'm excited that the machine's going to be faster than my guys. So now I can build my own doors again.
Right. And bring all that money back in.
Yeah. So he's excited about that. He's like, he even said, I'm already paying the payment on the machine. So the machine's basically producing doors for free.
Right.
Which is the right thought process.
It's an awesome story though. Yeah. But you're right. That's the way you got to think, right? And have that confidence to just know it's going to be
it was really cool.
Paid for and full of business all the time.
I was talking to him and his dad. His dad was there. His dad started the company, and his dad told me, we were sitting there talking a little bit, and his dad's like, I never would have thought this is the direction our company would have gone. He's like, when I started this thing, never would you have got me to think about adding CNC automation because it just wasn't like something that we did back then.
Yep.
He's like, now he's like, if I could go back in time and buy automation today, like the first day I started, he's like, just imagine how much bigger we'd be.
If he could go back and tell his 18-year-old self.
Right. That's kind of what made the question come up. Is this story kind of made me think about it because he said that. He's like, I do things so much differently if I could go back in time and start the company over again.
But it's cool to hear somebody that obviously has had a company for that long of a time say that and not be like still against it and be like, no, we got to continue to do it the old way.
He did joke. Yeah, he joked about how like his kids had to drag him into some of this stuff.
Yep.
But like he started to see the writing on the wall now, and he's like, it just makes life easier.
For sure.
So it was kind of cool. Like he was joking about, it reminded me a lot of my dad and I. Yep. Like the kid was kind of pushing him into things, and his dad wasn't always on board with it.
Right.
I told him about the time my dad fired me over Facebook, and he started laughing. He's like, yeah, I got fired over some stupid stuff too. Like it made me laugh. So I thought that was pretty good. I got a message, by the way, about the whole firing story that we talk about.
Yeah.
I got a message from a customer of ours last week, and he said his daughter. They were listening to this, and his daughter said, "Oh, that's gonna be my brother." Like he's talking about her brother getting fired by her dad. Like,
that's funny.
He was pretty funny. I was laughing.
Great.
So I thought that was pretty good. But but it's the truth. Like people who are in family, people who have never been in the family business don't understand the joke.
Right.
But like once you work for your parents, every kid who's worked for their parents has been threatened to be fired or been fired. Like it's just how it works. And so like that's kind of the joke. But like again, I was talking to them about it, and he just said like, his kid has pushed him into things that were uncomfortable. Which when they're uncomfortable, people's reaction sometimes is negative. I've pushed people away from it. But he said, he's like, he he wouldn't go back and change the business at all.
Right. And like we said before too, those uncomfortable situations usually turn out for the better in the end.
They usually turn into something. They help you grow. If
For sure.
nothing else, uncomfortable situations help you grow.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, that's all I had on the topic this week of loader unloaders. There's not a lot that I wanted to touch on that. Maybe you, the customers, have more questions. We'll do a follow-up episode on this if you want, but send us your questions. If you want to know more about the loader unloader, or there's something specifically that comes to mind that you're like, I'd like to hear more about it, send us a message. Like, let's talk about it, because I love this loader unloader machine. I could talk about it for hours.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really awesome.
So let's go there with that. Like I said, you guys got any questions on it, shoot them our way. We'll touch on it a little bit further. And then, my favorite segment of the whole week, I love this section. The internet is broken. So we talked to April last week, and you guys all heard her on the episode, and she had talked about how some people react to things and the way they act. And as soon as I posted that episode, somebody posted a comment, which for the record, I deleted. I got rid of it. I don't delete comments too often, but I also don't believe in being rude. And
Right.
when you're rude, I'm just going to not give you I'm not going to give you the stage. Sorry.
Sure.
And so yeah, the ridiculous comment I got was April would sell her soul. And like I said, I deleted it. It's ridiculously rude. But the reality is, like, she developed a brand.
For sure. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, like, that's exactly it. Like, it's a rude comment, trying to stir the pot, but she developed a brand, and you're just more than likely jealous of it.
Because she's successful.
Because she's
and has
successful.
A million different things that she's been successful
Correct.
at.
Like, she's
And
very
probably,
talented.
And honestly, without like sounding like a jerk like that guy, it's probably because she's a female. I bet it's a big part of it. People don't like that.
I think that's the bigger thing, is people expect this to be a male-dominant industry. And she's better than most of the males at this.
For
thing.
sure.
Like, I honestly was humbled by talking with her. She was so intelligent with her thought process on everything. And it wasn't just like, oh, I'm really good at woodworking, but it was like, when she started to explain the golf simulator thing, I was like,
she talked about things I didn't even really know.
yeah, like
and she's so well spoken, and just
she's
she knew
intelligent.
she knew so many things.
Yeah, and like, so for anybody to like, she would sell her soul. No, you know what? She built a brand, and she's reaping the reward of the hard work she's put in.
Yeah.
Like, and I believe that 100%. Like, her talking about my example of this is her talking about her business, that she set up that storefront business right before COVID took off.
Yep.
And when COVID kind of got going, it shut everything down, and she couldn't do anything with that storefront. And rather than like just failing at it, right? And she even said she kind of used it as a failure because it didn't work, right? But she pivoted and turned her capabilities of everything else and her passion for golf and everything else into these golf simulators, and then started the business on that.
Yep.
How many people would have just given up?
A lot.
Right. And that's my point, is that, like, so to say she would sell her soul, like, I would say that it's the opposite. She put her efforts into what she was doing.
She put her soul into it. And
Right.
Made what she like the.
And people have invested in her.
Right.
Like, that's the thing, is
For
like,
good reason.
right.
Like,
When she called ShopSabre and bought her first ShopSabre, okay? She, for the record, I want to set the record straight. She bought her ShopSabre. People seem to think she got her ShopSabre. She bought her ShopSabre from ShopSabre. And when she called me up, she was like, I've been dreaming about owning a ShopSabre for years. She's owned other machines before it. And of course, I was excited to work with her too, because I'm like, hey, she's really well known in the industry and she wants to own our product.
yep.
It's that same trade-off that, like, let's work together, right? It's the same thing every business owner does out there. I'm
Absolutely.
going to tell you right now, if there's a business owner out there that acts like they haven't bartered in their line of work, like, you're lying.
For sure.
That's kind of the benefit. Like, Nick, you do it. Let's just call it out, right? I mean, as a real example, you have your weather page.
Yep.
You bartered advertising on your weather page for something else, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Like, and I
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't have an example of what you bartered, but I mean,
there's a couple companies that like give like affiliate links to my followers, right?
Yep.
And then they get a discount.
yep.
I get a little kickback from it, whatever. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, you're helping somebody out,
Right.
helping the people that follow your page out. Like, it's a win-win for everybody. So
That was my
Why not do
thought.
it?
And I'm glad you said it, because that's where I was going with it, is that people act like that's a negative. But the reality is, she got to use a machine in her shop that's going to help her produce the product that she sells.
Yep.
So one, it helps her customers, helps her. Two, she got to show off a machine in her shop to other people who maybe didn't know who ShopSabre was.
Right.
Right? So she introduces a brand that is now American made. So rather than somebody running out and buying a Chinese machine or an import machine that may have bad support or bad quality because they didn't know better,
Yep.
they now are introduced to a product they may not have otherwise found.
Exactly.
So that's a win for her followers now. That's also a win for me, because as a company, I may not have been able to spend the amount of money I need to in advertising to get in front of all these people.
Right.
So it helps me get in front of a whole new group of people. So to say anybody sold their soul, like it's a negative comment that doesn't need to be said.
Right. And I think just look at it for what it really is. Like it's people helping people help other people. Like it's a win-win for everybody.
Right.
It's not a situation where anybody's losing.
Right.
It's a win for everybody.
We are literally helping people.
She's making great products with our machine. She's promoting our machine, and her customers are getting great products from her because she uses a good machine to make them. Right.
Correct.
I mean,
exactly. And
everybody
I think
wins.
Our customers kind of speak for that too. Is there's so many customers that will talk about our customer service and support. Like we've helped people achieve their goals, and they in turn have helped us achieve our goals. So, as I always say on the show, if you help enough people get what they want, you will be able to get what you want. Absolutely. You can have anything you want in the world, right? Yep. It's the kind of the quote that goes Zig Ziglar as far as it can go back. You know, like these are real statements that we're just working together and collaborating. And, you know, sometimes people get jealous of that because they didn't think of the idea.
Yep.
Or because they don't have that attitude or that method. But I think, like I said, I was very humbled by speaking with April. She's very talented at what she does, and she outworks most people around her. I will say that. Her energy is contagious.
Yep, for sure.
So if you don't like it, too bad.
Don't be a D.
Don't be a D. Yeah, but it's the truth, like I said. And then, you know, obviously with that, we're going to jump into something more positive this week, which is my motivational quote. Motivational quote of the week. So, motivational quote of the week for me is, do not stop when you are tired. Stop when you are done. And it resonated with me this week specifically because I was dog tired coming into work Monday because I had worked at the show for the last week and a half and setting up and tearing down and traveling and everything that you got going on in between, plus trying to be a dad and a husband and everything else that goes in, and helping everybody here at ShopSabre. And just everybody pulls you in so many different directions that you get exhausted. And it's really easy to be like, I'm too tired to do this. And then I woke up and reminded myself, you're not done yet. Keep going. The tiredness will fail. Like it'll disappear. It'll fall behind you. Yep. And you got to keep going. But there's so many business owners and so many bosses and so many employees and so many people in the world, they lay down on the job because they get tired. We're all tired.
Yep, for sure.
Everybody's tired. Somebody's got it worse than you. And that's what I reminded myself Monday morning when I woke up, is somebody wishes they could be given the opportunity that we have in front of us today.
Heck, some people, I was going to say, some people wish they could wake up and have a job to go to.
Right.
I mean,
and that was my point.
Yeah.
Like I woke up and had a place to go and people who depend on me. I'm fortunate. I have my health right now. Some people don't have that. So take it for what it is, but do not stop when you are tired. Stop when you are done. So if you're not done with whatever goal you set out, keep working. Keep going.
You'll get there.
You'll get there. The end is not always the quick route, right?
Correct.
So that's my motivational.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's like the 4x100.
They should really let them pick the order they want to do it in. That'd be way more fun. Well, because like everybody's doing the same stroke at the same time. Just let them do it willy-nilly and do whatever you want. Yeah.
Like one guy's doing the breath stroke, the next one's over there doing the back stroke.
At all different areas of the pool, nobody would know what's going on.
It's just chaos.
At the end, it would be like, yeah, it'd be sweet.
You got some guy he has to do the backstroke down the back because they waited till the end, and the other guy's like just straight, digging.
And let's not do breakdancing anymore.
It was hard to watch.
It was weird.
It was hard to watch.
And I don't know how you even judge what's going on.
I didn't know if they were doing something good or bad.
We kind of got off topic there.
We watched that in the airport.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
It was
watching breakdancing in the airport, the only breakdancing. I'm like, this is a sport?
That's
like
very strange.
They can dance way better than me. I get it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I didn't know if they were doing good or bad.
No. That's what
I'm like, how do I know? How does a normal guy like me who can't dance know if that's good or not?
Yeah. I mean, I've probably pulled out some of those moves in my early 20s at some point by accident.
I've fallen down a few times and look at that. You know which one was fun to watch was table tennis.
Those guys are nuts.
Dude.
Insane.
So good. I was watching, God, who was it? Sweden versus China, I think.
Probably.
May not have been. Don't quote me on that.
China's really good at it, though.
All I know is, dude, the spike, it was like the super bomb. The guy jumped in the air and he was like, yeah. And the guy like ran all the way back and got it back to the table.
That was ping pong and badminton. Badminton was another crazy one to watch because
I didn't watch any badminton, which I like badminton.
Like
I didn't
two guys on each side that just seem to have no idea where they're actually going to get a shot, but they know where their partner's at to hit it. It was just, I don't know. It was
volleyball got me. How can you take a spike as hard as you can and just like you can dig it out of the ground and like I can't even see the ball fast enough.
No idea.
It probably doesn't help that I'm like 5'3", so I can't see over the net.
You think you could jump up to block a spike?
No, not a chance.
No, not quite close enough.
Couldn't do it. I think I could jump both hands in the air and I could barely go over the net.
You'd take it right off the forehead.
I'd take it right off the top of my head. It'd be right off the bald spot.
Would that count?
I don't know. You tell me.
I have no idea. I'd say yes.
Probably counts.
It's just me.
Just take it off the top of the bald spot, put it on the other side.
The Olympics are awesome, though.
Dude, I love the Olympics.
Snoop Dogg was hilarious.
Snoop Dogg was funny. I think it was pretty funny to watch him like do highlights.
And it was really uncomfortable when him and Martha Stewart were sitting in the thing together talking. Like, it was just weird.
Oh,
like, are you guys going to go out to dinner tonight, or what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there.
It was something.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I think we ended up winning the overall medals, correct?
Yeah, a lot.
By a lot. Tied for gold medals.
So, that sounds right, yeah.
I think we tied for gold medals with China.
Sounds about right.
How fitting.
Yeah. If the volleyball team wouldn't have got smoked by
Come on. It's all right. They're better than me still.
That's true.
So I'm not going to get down on them. Good job.
2028, LA.
Is that where it is next? LA?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
The Summer Olympics is in LA?
2028.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Where's the Winter Olympics at in 2 years? Stay tuned.
Switzerland?
Someplace that's
Switzerland. Cold in the winter.
I don't know. I just like watching the
Minnesota?
hockey.
That'd be sweet.
It'd be sweet. It's not going to be here.
I could go ski the mountains of northern
Yeah,
Minnesota.
say, what mountains are they going to ski?
Way up
Buck Hill?
Way up north where you go visit your friends.
They're going to go to Buck Hill?
Yeah. Heck, can you
The
imagine?
triple back diamond. That's straight
Maybe
down.
they could just haul in a bunch of dirt and make it like 5 times taller.
Seems ridiculous.
Be kind of sweet.
Seems quite ridiculous.
Or just like...
I feel like there's better places in the U.S. than Minnesota for Winter Olympics.
Like, dig under 35 and like under that lake and just let out the water of the lake and just make so Bucket would be like 5 times higher, but you're actually going down
So
under the ground.
dig out Crystal Lake.
Why not? Be innovative.
Feel like you're failing quickly. I see why you quit going to college.
I bet you that'll happen in the year 2200.
I can see why you quit going to college for architectural design.
Yeah, it would have been pretty sweet golf courses around by this time, though. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, they would have been under 35 at the rate you're going.
Yeah, but then you hit the ball over 35, but then drive the cart under 35 to get to the other side.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about?
Stick to what you're doing. You're doing good.
Okay, that's fair.
I like it. But yeah, hopefully today's episode, you guys learned a little bit about the loader unloader. Hopefully we found a way to motivate you a little bit with some of these kind of, if you will, the motivational quotes and the customer questions, and just get you thinking, get the week kind of started off right. We're halfway through the week now. Weekend's coming, so stay positive. If you're having a week, there's only a few days left, and then you can hopefully reset yourself, find a way to get going. But yeah, I hope, like I said, hope you guys had fun. My final thoughts of the week really are going to be stay positive, find your energy, and do something great this week. That's what I got for you this week.
All I have is let's nominate scootering for the 2028 Olympics.
Oh, I could enter
that. Would be sick.
Scootering for the 2028
with no out of bounds lines.
Yeah, don't take that's stupid. Who shuts the scooter off at the bottom of the hill?
They do it on the golf course too with golf carts.
Lame.
It's pretty lame.
If I want to go off road with my scooter, you let me go off road with my scooter.
For sure.
With that, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.